So Scott, it's great now. You're part of our executive leadership team.
Yep.
Been responsible for filling our hotel with guests both on the group and transient side, and have had a great career now with Marriott over many years. But one of the things we were talking about recently was that you actually started here at the Sheraton New Orleans, and would love to understand that story and how you landed here at that and where you were in your career at that time.
Fun story to talk about. It's funny how life kind of, what goes around comes around sort of thing, but in the summer of 1982, I had just graduated from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst, and I came out of the hotel program there, and had offers to go work for Sheraton, Marriott, and the former Stouffer Hotel Company, and chose to go work for Sheraton. Only imagined that I was going to be working in Boston for the rest of my life, our hometown, or almost my hometown, but ended up in Washington, D.C. that summer in July, and I think it was toward the end of August of '82, maybe early September. On 2 days' notice, was told that I was going to New Orleans to help open the Sheraton New Orleans Hotel. So I landed here and actually stayed in one of the first hotel rooms that was available. The hotel did not have a certificate of occupancy yet. The cab guy questioned me 3 times before I got to the building whether or not I was going to the right property or not. And he dropped me off on Canal Street in front of what is now our glass atrium. The glass was not there yet. I walked over a sand pile into the lobby behind a plastic curtain, and the front desk was, as we see it today, was pretty much the same as it was back then. And they told me, "Oh, Mr. Jernstrom, we've been waiting for you. You're the second person who's going to actually be staying in a guest room in this hotel." Wow. And basically I worked under Dieter Kindemann, who at the time was the director of food and beverage. The opening general manager, Tom, you and I are forgetting his last name, but we can fill in the blank later. Yogi Hudson was the hotel manager. Maris Bangus was my counterpart, the director of sales and marketing. Dieter Kindemann, as I mentioned, food and beverage. Jack O'Brien, director of catering. All these guys I remember so well, because back in those days, you just rolled up your sleeves and did whatever. We literally worked 7 days a week, 18 hours a day. It was fun, it was great. We were just trying to open the place up and get it ready. But some of the things that I remember most just vividly is, first of all, I opened the Lanyap Lounge, which was, I was sent on a gopher chase for about a week trying to pull together the equipment so that we could open that lounge. And we were preparing the hotel and the associates to, basically get these outlets up and running. So the Lanyap was my first one. The second one was the Saffron Restaurant, which sits right about where Rue Bistro is today. Behind that, well, basically it's the Rhythms meeting ballroom space. And that was like a 60-seat, fine dining signature restaurant at the time. That was a big initiative of Sheraton Corporation. And I'll just tell this one story. It was just fascinating. So over the course of about 2 weeks, we did a series of mock kind of, tastings, if you would. Invited local people from the community to come in and basically be guinea pigs, if you would, but basically, be mock tests, mock guests, so that our associates in the kitchen could kind of open the place and get it up and running. And the very first night, we sat down after the fact at about 10 o'clock at night, just the team that was opening, and who was there, but the famous chef with the blackened seafood, Paul Perdone.
Paul Perdone.
Paul Perdone is sitting at the table, and he's with 4 or 5 of us, and we end up cracking some bottles of wine open, and we sat there for the next 2 hours. So here I am, a young kid out of college, and I knew he was kind of a celebrity chef at the time, and that ended up being the first of about 3 or 4 nights that we got together. Well, the last time I remember being together we're sitting there at about midnight one night, and Paul Prudhomme suggests that we all jump in a car, or what, maybe we walked down to his restaurant, and 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, we cracked open some bottles of wine, fired up the kitchen, and we are playing with food and tasting and drinking wine.
Wow.
With Paul Prudhomme.
In Paul Prudhomme's kitchen.
Yeah, and that is the story, like that, it
Amazing.
stuck with me for my whole life. So this hotel has kind of had a near and dear place. Fast forward 2012, I end up in New Orleans at the New Orleans Marriott. And in 2018, after the Starwood acquisition, here I am back at the Sheraton New Orleans. So that's my story.